Good afternoon, June, and all esteemed guests. It is with great pleasure my team and I present to you today. So without further ado, let us begin. Globalization has allowed nations to be competitive in international markets. While Porter's single diamond theory has become a prominent theory for international competitive advantage, it has faced a lot of criticisms, and with that has brought extensions and adaptations of his original model. One such being the double diamond model, which looks to compare the domestic and foreign diamonds to better understand their global competitiveness. By analysing the coal industry of Australia, the home country, and India, the host country, my team and I will demonstrate the strengths and weaknesses of both models. Emily will firstly discuss factor conditions. Then I will be analysing demand conditions. Yi-Chen will speak about the related and supporting industries. And finally, Jordan will discuss the firm strategy and rivalry, as well as summarise our main findings. Now I will hand you over to Emily.
Thanks, Victoria. The coal industry is a natural resource-based industry. Both Australia and India are naturally rich in coal, ranking in the top 5 countries with the largest coal reserves. However, India is the second largest producer of coal in the world, whilst Australia ranks in at 5th. As India has a population of 1.35 billion people, it's no surprise that they'd have a much greater pool of labour in the coal mining workforce than Australia. However, as an advanced economy, Australia ranks considerably higher in quality of mining education. As a highly skilled industry, this is quite a large competitive advantage. They also have more capital investment as it's a privatised sector, whereas India has primarily been a public sector and almost monopolistic. However, recent government policy changes have allowed for private companies to enter the market, which provides a large opportunity for India as an emerging economy to attract more capital investment to boost the industry and economic growth. India's coal industry also faces extra governmental and social issues such as complex bureaucracy, socioeconomic issues, and land acquisition difficulty, which negatively impacts output. It's for this reason that entering the market as an Australian company would prove to be rather difficult, even with Australia's expertise in the field of coal mining. Porter's avoidance of resource-based industries in his methodology when testing his model resulted in the inadequacy to explain international competitiveness within these industries. As natural resources are unevenly distributed across land, it encourages trade, which is why they're such export-dependent industries. While the single diamond model is criticised for its lacking acknowledgement of factors outside the home diamond that play a part in its competitiveness, the double diamond model helps to provide a holistic approach by showing the comparison with a global competitor. In the case of Australia and India, whilst India produces more coal overall, it exports none. In fact, it imports coal to cover the surplus of demand that it fails to cater for, whereas Australia is one of the leading exporters of the world, exporting 80% of its production of coal, which is a key driver in economic growth. The most successful international competitors are those who look abroad to see existing possibilities within the international arena. While Porter asserts that it's the created factors rather than the inherited factors which create competitive advantage, I believe he undersells the importance of these basic factors that also play a great part within international competitive advantage. Now I'll pass you back to Victoria, who will analyse the demand conditions.
Thank you, Emily. When analysing the global coal industry, it should come as no surprise that the demand and uses of coal are quite extensive. In both Australia and India, coal is primarily used as a fuel to generate electricity. However, with such an immense population, India consumes over 900 million tonnes of coal per year. This highlights a high level of market sophistication. Nevertheless, Australia's coal production caters to 80% of the home country's electricity needs, as well as coal being one of the leading export commodities in the country. And you guessed it, India is most definitely a front runner in importing coal from Australia. Despite this, due to Porter's demand conditions, India appears to have a stronger diamond in this market as a result of such a large market size. However, the demand for coal in Australia is less than what is produced. Therefore, it is sold and exported, while the demand in India is more than what they are able to produce, hence the need to import from Australia. Consequently, Australia is more competitive than India as they are greater exporters of coal. suggesting that demand cannot just be looked at from the home diamond because a lot of demand comes from outside of Australia, as well as India importing from other countries. In saying this, with India having the second largest population in the world of 1.35 billion people, Australia should definitely break into the Indian coal market, as it is well known that India cannot produce enough coal to sustain their own needs, while Australia is a mass producer of coal. Not only do the two countries work interchangeably, with one being an exporter of coal and the other an importer, but this will also diversify Australia's market, tapping into a global market of growing demand. When the single and double diamond model are looked at collectively, they enhance what it means for nations to be globally competitive. However, when explored individually, the single model is believed to be unsatisfactory as it fails to take into account factors outside the home country. Australia is currently overproducing coal at a national level, and an application of Porter's single diamond would conclude that Australia suffers from a weak diamond as production substantially outweighs the amount of demand for coal in the home country, despite Australia's coal production known to be for international demand. From this, it is clear that the single diamond fails to represent actual demand. Porter's work does not justify how the demand from host countries contribute to the competitive advantage of a country, but merely focuses on demand within the home nation. However, the application of the double diamond framework shows how Australia engages in international competitiveness in India, with Australia being an exporter of coal to combat the demand shortages in India. Consequently, the double diamond model is a more accurate theory of comparison when exploring the coal demands in these countries because they coexist. Thus, the double diamond should be viewed as an extension of Porter's work to factor in existing demands within the international market. I will now hand you over to Yi-Chen.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm Yi-Chen, and I'm going to discuss four related and supporting industry that may impact on Australia and India coal industry. Firstly, Australian Railway. Since the railway offers straight track transmission and loading system that will transfer coal into ships simultaneously, the Australian coal company highly rely on it. As an outcome, the railway benefits the coal industry in cost-effective and ensured quality. Secondly, the port industry. Ports within Australia were designed to coordinate with the railway network, which allows smooth transmission for international activities. For example, the Newcastle terminal is the largest facility within its site and has a large stocking capacity. The facilities enable coal companies to supply a large quantity of external demand instantly. The automation technology industry support all related industries and may apply to most coal-associated operations. MRA, an Australian company, offer this type of system from mine to port comprehensively. The Newcastle Export Terminal has installed this type of system and allowed coal companies to reduce all kinds of expense and turns more productive, profitable, and safer. Lastly, like Emily had mentioned, Australia have high rank in major of mining engineering. The mining education industry joined with the coal industry and coordinate with technical and professional components. Furthermore, it offers coal practice for future path. This support employment, sustainable human resource, career support, and internship opportunities. On the other hand, India coal industry depend on railway as well. However, India have few networks and less organized. Though the India port industry have high capacity and well connect with the railway network, it is vulnerable. Due to the climate change, both industries are not able to extend their distribution and may cause quality concerns, poor scheduling management, and less coordinated with the coal industry. This results in increased expense and late delivery. Comparing with Australia-related and supported industry, automation technology and education do not support India coal industry, which indicate that Australia have a relative advantage in these areas. The main differences between single diamond model and double diamond model is the categorization of infrastructure. Porter believes that infrastructure is under the factor condition because infrastructure may apply for various industry and improve its competitiveness. However, the double diamond model stated that there are several infrastructure were established for international demand and activities. Therefore, it should be classified as related and supported industry. As a result, I believe that since the coal industry heavily rely on import and export, the coal export terminals and coal railway transportation were meant to support the coal industry. Therefore, the double diamond model is more suitable for Australia and India. And now I'm handing over to Jordan.
Thank you. Firm strategy, structure, and rivalry in Porter Diamond's model attempts to evaluate how the nature of a domestic industry shapes the way a firm operates. When analysing the coal industry in Australia and India through this component, it reveals how coal mining firms structure their business operations and strategy based on competition, government, regulation, and domestic infrastructure. The nature of Porter's single diamond model is inadequate when analysing the Australian coal industry, due to the industry being centred around international exportation. Whilst domestic competition in the industry is high, firm structure and strategy is shaped towards international competitiveness. The Australian coal mining industry in recent years has undergone radical changes, with the Workplace Relations Act of 1996 eliminating union influence in many major firms, and in turn productivity of workers increasing by 9.4%. Despite this, firm structure in the industry is not shaped towards a productivity model, but rather a mass production model. This model is determined by firms using economies of scale in order to compete against the large-scale production of competition from international industries. Whilst the single diamond model is inadequate when assessing the current industry climate and competitiveness of a more domesticated strategy that Porter recommended, may be a worthwhile analysis for an Australian firm. The nature of the coal mining industry in India can be assessed through the single diamond model due to the domesticated focus of the industry. The Indian coal mining industry is a predominantly state-driven, with 80% of coal being produced by state-owned firms. With India being the third largest consumer of energy in the world, the coal mining industry remains inadequate, with coal production being lower than domestic consumption. Coal India is a state-owned firm and has a monopoly in the industry, making up 80% of coal production. With little to no domestic competition, firm structure and strategy, according to Porter's theory, is not challenged or forced to innovate in order to gain competitive advantage. This is also coupled with India's strong regulations surrounding the industry, which creates strong barriers to entry and regulates efficiency and growth opportunities for firms. It is evident that a single diamond model can give insight into a firm's domestic advantage when it comes to a firm's structure and strategy, highlighting the opportunity for Australian firms to adopt domestic competitive advantage strategies through productivity. Conclusively, however, a double diamond approach is a more accurate way to analyse an Australian coal mining firm's opportunity to be successful in the Indian market. In conclusion, while demand conditions in the Indian coal industry look promising, as well as Australia's abundance of mining graduates, other factors such as tough government regulations and various socio-economic issues make it too difficult to enter the market. Therefore, our findings have led us to conclude that it would not be a successful business venture to enter the Indian coal market at this current time. Our research has also uncovered many weaknesses of the single diamond model. Our team has unanimously agreed that the double diamond model is a more efficient model to determine international competitiveness. Thank you.